join. Okay, in this session, I think only new students of the online live sessions will be joining. The prior batch students, some of them are writing the exams in the current semester, so we'll add them after 1 week because it's like initial session that they have already attended. So it's not like mandatory for them to attend. Let's see if someone else others also join, but it's okay. If not, then no issues at all. Okay, first and foremost, I would like to know like where you guys have reached, like what have you covered so far. I'll just open the planner as well. Okay. Um, Anyone who have covered the first week topics?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you have covered. What about you, Giridhar?
Yes, sir. I have covered the first two chapters. Yes, sir.
First two chapters you have covered. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. All right. Okay. See, initially how we plan to structure is that uh, you would have watched my orientation video which I have already uploaded in the app, right? Like you know everything about SBR or you don't know?
Yeah, sir. I have seen the orientation video and I have got a idea about the SBR paper now.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Surabhi? You know everything about SBR, like the exam planning, how many marks it comes for.
Yes, sir. So I have seen that, but I am really looking forward for more guidance. But I'll let you speak first, then I
That is
can
okay.
ask my questions.
Sure. So see, this session, I've kept it very light. I don't want to have a very detailed session because see, what happens is that SBR is a topic that we get more and more cumbersome as we progress. Like initially it is very light, but as we progress, you will start feeling the heat of the topics. So it is very important that the initial weeks or initial couple of weeks we keep the sessions very light. Because if I start having so much of question practice, everything in the first week itself, it's going to be really difficult for you to understand. So initially it is all about getting to know the subject, which means just watching the videos, reading the activities, clearing all doubts. That's it. We'll start the process of question practice in a detailed manner or in depth only from the second or third week onwards, which is like in the July midweek or in the July second week itself. Since this time we are starting the orientation late, we'll be starting with the question practice session in the July first week itself. But to give you a very big nutshell, SBR, I would tell you like few things that you would have heard about SBR, which is like a myth and reality kind of a thing. Myth is that SBR is an exam which is actually easy to crack, but that's a myth. Why I'll tell you is that SBR as an exam it is okay, but there are few things that you need to be prepared about. Is number one, SBR topics are very lengthy. Like there are, if you look at, let me open the sub chapters over here. If you look at, you have close to around 21 chapters, which is very, very strange or very depth or very detailed for a P level paper. Generally, in P level papers, you don't get these many chapters. You get lesser number of chapters, lesser than 20 chapters, but SBR is not like that. SBR includes everything that you have learned in FR, plus whatever you are going to learn additionally in SBR itself. So depth is very difficult, not the exam. Exam itself is okay, but the depth of the paper makes it a little bit complicated. Okay, because it is not easy, right? It is not easy to remember the concept that you have learned, specifically certain concepts you would be hearing for the first time. So it will be not easy for you to remember it and go and present it in the examination. Second myth, what I've heard about SBR is that SBR is very lengthy to finish, like you will not be able to complete the paper. Yes, it is lengthy, but it is it is it is possible to complete the paper if you have practiced well, if you have planned it well, if you have approached it well. It is actually very easy to complete the papers. Third, SBR is having more practical questions involved. No, SBR is a theoretical paper. It is a practical oriented theoretical paper. I would call it in that way. It is a practical oriented theory paper. it does not have that much of number crunching. Like in FR, it is all about preparation. SBR is not about preparation. SBR is about, even though you have financial statement, consolidated financial statement, you are doing some adjustments to it. SBR, you are not preparing anything. Okay. You are only rectifying the financial statements. That's the biggest myth that everybody do not understand. You are not preparing anything in SBR. You are not preparing the complete financial statement. You are not preparing anything. What you are doing is you are rectifying, or you are explaining, or you are discussing. But you don't have to prepare any financial statement. You don't have to prepare any journal entries, something like that. SBR is a paper which requires you to write everything in a summarized manner. No, that is a complete myth. SBR is a paper that you require to write everything in a detailed manner. You have to explain the accounting concept. You should not summarize it. In Indian education, one thing that we have always learned is to give in pointers. Give a heading for the pointer and explain. That's what we have learned, right? Even I have learned in my 12th that when it is theory, give a heading to a point and then you write an explanation in 2 sentences. If you write like that, SBR, you will lose. You will not pass the paper. SBR is all about explanation. You have to complete it in paragraphs. One paragraph about explaining what the standard is. Second paragraph, you have to approach by explaining how you need to rectify the issues in the scenario. And third, you need to give a conclusion. So it is all about explanation. They require you to, they are testing your applicative knowledge. They are not testing your theoretical knowledge. Theoretical knowledge, okay, you can write in pointers. You can write the pointers, whether you're able to remember the topic or whether you're able to remember the standard. No, here they are explaining or expecting that you pick out a topic, you pick out a standard and explain that standard by applying it to the relevant scenarios. That is what is required, but not the theoretical aspects. Then another topic that I've heard, myth that I've heard about SBR is that SBR, you just have to learn few topics and you will be able to pass the paper. It is a very big myth. Complete study of the concepts, including the accounting concepts, are required. There are also additional topics that you might have to learn, which are certain core theory topics. I call them as core theory topics. For example, sustainability is a core theory. IFRS 18 is a core theory. Then there is something that is called as stakeholder management. It is a core theory. All these topics, if I explain to you, you will understand it, but you will not be able to answer the question. Those topics, something is kind of like a self-explanatory, or it is a self-study topics, which means you are required to read and approach the answers, because it is all about reading. More you read, more knowledge you will get. SBR is like that, and those topics are very important as well because they can be tested for 20 marks. These are the few things that I would like to tell you. And finally, I would like to tell you one point about SBR is, students, what they do is, the students will say, oh, you know what? Let me study SBR first by learning the concept, and maybe 1 or 2 weeks before the exam, I will practice questions. High chance of failing. If you do that, there's high chance that you will fail the paper. What is the reason for it? Question practice is the only way to pass the paper. Question practice. Active question practice is the only way to pass the paper. If you do not do question practice, it is very less chance that you will pass the paper. The more question practice you do, the more chance of passing the paper. Question practice involves practicing ACCA study hub topics. Second, past exam question papers. And third, revision kit question papers. From tutor's perspective, from my side, what I am planning to do is every week I'll be taking up past exam question papers from various topics that we have studied. Then we will be sitting, right, on doing all those questions in the live classes. You are expected to go through past revision kit question papers. There is a revision kit that is given to you at study hub, study text. You are required to look into those revision kit and solve those revision kit questions, and focus on study hub as well. Because if you focus on ACCA study hub, there is a high chance of passing that particular paper. So these are the important things that you need to follow. Okay. Now, okay. The most important chapter in the first week that you have gone through, which one do you think is the most important chapter?
IFRS 18.
Okay.
And the ethics
Yeah.
ethics and related party
Correct.
transactions are also
Both
very
of you are right. The most important topic is IFRS 18 and ethics. The reason is because IFRS 18 is relatively new concept. It has not been tested very frequently. Last semester also there were questions related to IFRS 18. Ethics is a 100% sure question. Definitely one question will be from ethics. Definitely. Not even 1% chance that they will remove ethics. 100% every semester they will ask a question based on ethics. It is one of the easiest questions to score. If you practice well those questions, 100% that you will score highest mark in ethics. So it comes up to maximum 20 marks. If you're able to score 15 marks in ethics, or just imagine to target to score 12 marks in ethics, there is high chance that you will pass the paper. Why? Because up to 15 marks, you will be able to score in consolidation. Consolidation, you will be able to score up to 15 marks. So if you score out of 15, at least another 8 or 9, then you have scored 20 marks in total from 30 marks. Rest is easy. The rest of the topics or rest of the marks to score is easy. I want you to first forget about scoring rank, scoring 100, etc. The first 2 weeks, you need to score 50 marks. That's what is important. How I can score 50 marks? That is the primary goal. Then you keep a target of scoring not 90 or 95 or 99. You keep a target of 100. Write down 100 on your notebooks. Write down 100 on your table. Write down 100 anywhere you see. That's what you're planning to score. You're not planning to score 70. You're not planning to score 80. You're not planning to score 90. You're planning to score 100. I'll tell you why you're planning to score 100 and why it is important for you to score 100. See, many students study for 50 marks. The moment you study for 50 marks, always there is a thought process in your mind to study only 50%. So the moment you have studied, you would say that this is enough for me. The moment that mark, the digits goes to 3 digits, there is a positive pressure on your mindset to score more marks. That's where you will be able to pass the paper. Because more marks means more effort. More effort means more study. More effort means more researching. It doesn't matter if you watch my 1,000 videos. It doesn't matter if you watch all my lectures. It doesn't matter if you watched all my past exam question paper solving. It doesn't guarantee you a pass. I'm contributing a very less percentage of your pass mark. Maybe I might be contributing 40% or maybe 30%. That's it. The entire 100 marks is contributed by you. 100% of the marks, your contribution is very high. So it is very important that you prepare yourself. You get used to yourself and score those marks for you to pass the paper, which is the most important factor. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Now, have you taken a look at the question paper?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll just show you the question paper. So this is a mock exam. I can also show you past exam question paper, but it doesn't matter. Mock exams are all the same.
So as I finished 2 weeks videos, I was because there's also a point in there to focus on exam questions and the exam kit, and they are all like case study questions, which of course is how it would be. So I got confused that how do I practice, because from the past exam experience, I realized that generally it is a mix of questions. So that guidance would be very useful
Yes.
to
That's
have.
why these live sessions will be conducted. Every week we'll be going through past exam question papers.
No, because you were also asking us to practice. So how do we
No,
practice when we
I will
finish?
tell you. I'll tell you. So the initial week of practice, I'll tell you how to do.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. Okay. So this is a question paper that you will be getting. Okay. As you can see, there are two sections, section A and section B. So in section A have total 50 marks. There are two questions. Two questions means two scenarios. So this is the first scenario. This is the first scenario, right? They have given a background about the company and everything will be like exhibits. Like all we call this as exhibits. In exhibits, there will be details about the scenarios. There will be information relating to the scenarios. That's how the exhibits are prepared or presented. Okay. So you have exhibit 1, which have given certain information. There is exhibit 2, which have a bit of information. And there is exhibit 3. Okay. As you can see, they have given us a financial statement. You have requirements. If you look at this, in this, there are like multi-part requirements, which means A, B, C, D, and A has 3 parts. And A, of course, it's a smaller, each part are smaller questions. Like A part, the 3 questions are smaller questions. So in A, you have discussed something. B, you have discussed something. 3 is explanation. Discuss means just giving the concept and mentioning what is happening in the concept. That's it. Which means you don't need to go in detail. You don't need to explain with example or explain with by linking to the scenario. You just have to give a summary of it. That's it. That's what discussion is about. Explain means you have to give with example or with calculation. That's what explanation means. An explanation, you are required to go deeper, a bit more deeper. Okay, you can ignore the marks when it comes to explain, because in explain you are required to give more. In discuss, the answer requirement is a bit more lesser, but here you have a bit more calculation. That's why the marks in discuss is actually more, right? And they have exhibits. So these questions are framed based on exhibits. Only cases that part A, you don't need to refer any exhibit. You don't need to refer any exhibit. Why? Because it's all direct question. Like here, discuss what should be at the accounting treatment. You don't need to look at any exhibit. You just have to discuss how the accounting concept will be framed. That's it. But in part B, if you look at here, explain using exhibit 1, calculate goodwill. So you have to look at exhibit 1 and do the calculation. You have to do the calculation. Exhibit 2, you are required to explain how the provisions of construction cost damages will be accounted for. So you have to read the exhibit 2 and explain how they will be constructed. And finally, you have a pre-populated spreadsheet. So how will you record your answers? Where will you write your answers? There are 2 types of answer sheets. One is a word processor. A word processor is there to explain, to write, to give conceptual discussions, is why these word processor is there. Spreadsheets are there for your consolidation. Of course, if you have certain calculations you have to do, you can do it in spreadsheet as well. But you have to refer those spreadsheets in your word explanations. You will get to know this when I start explaining or when I start teaching you the past exam question papers. Don't focus on this too much. I'm just giving you a structure, that's all. Because I don't want to make you a little bit overwhelmed with all these things. So here you are given the spreadsheet data. What you have to do is you have to mention adjustments over here. For example, adjustment 1. You have to mention the adjustment. What is the adjustment? What about the amount is? You have to mention it here. And you have to show the amount. Okay. This should be added. So 25,000 plus 223. So the answer should be 27,223. This will be your revised amount. Okay. That's how you need to present it. So you have to do all the adjustments over here and show the revised amount. Where will you get or read those adjustments? For example, you read the exhibit 2. There will be certain adjustments based on this exhibit, which you have to explain or write it in the pre-populated spreadsheet. There will be certain exhibit in relation, there will be certain calculations which will be in relation to this exhibit or exhibit 1. So look at that exhibit, okay, and understand that and make the adjustment in your spreadsheet. Okay.
Yes,
This is the first, yeah.
Sir, when you tell explain, are we supposed to give the example based on the case or like example about the standard in a general like form?
Case.
Case.
It doesn't matter. Standard example is based on the definition of the standard. See, standard has two parts. One is what the standard says. For example, let's say example, how is a revenue recognized? A revenue is recognized. There are 5-step model, correct? So those
Yes, sir.
5-step model is the explanation of the standard. Now, how that 5-step model is applicable to the scenario. That linkage is what you're required to write in your explanation.
Okay. And examples are also like connected to those like explanation which I give.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For example, 1 second. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me tell you this, like I'll give you a simple example. Okay. I'll give you a simple example. I'll take this chapter. They don't have any activity in this. Yeah, so look at this as a question. Okay. Gerard has entered into a sales contract with the customer to construct a specialized asset. Customer has paid a deposit, which is refundable if Gerard fails to complete the construction. The rest of the consideration of the asset is payable when the asset is delivered. Okay. If the customer defaults on the contract prior to completion, Gerard has a right to retain the deposit. Discuss whether Gerard should recognize revenue by measuring progress towards completion. This is the question. So if you look at here, what they are doing, first, they are explaining the standard in this paragraph. Revenue is recognized by measuring towards the progression of completion, so and so, so and so. So here, the performance obligation is satisfied over the time. During the construction, they have paid a deposit, correct? So now they are linking to the scenario. So the first paragraph, they are explaining about revenue standard, a specific topic of the standard. Here, revenue has multiple things. Here, they are talking only about one particular point. What is that? Performance obligation satisfied over a point in time. So they are explaining about how the accounting treatment works when performance obligation is satisfied over a time or at a point in time, correct? That's what they are explaining. They are not explaining step 1, contract with the customer, step 2, identify performance. They are not explaining all that. They are only explaining a particular part of the revenue. So that is first as an explanation you need to write. In second paragraph, what you are doing? Plain and simple, nothing complicated. You are taking the sentences from the scenario and saying that how the revenue is recognized. So they have paid a deposit. How the deposit is treated. Whether there is a single performance obligation or there is a performance obligation over a period of time. And they are giving a conclusion. Can you see here? Therefore, there is a single performance obligation which is only met during the delivery of the asset. JARA should recognize revenue at a point in time. Why? Because this construction, they are given only a deposit. So deposit is treated as an advance. The revenue satisfied only when the performance obligation is completed, when the construction is completed. And hence it is performance obligation at a point in time. So you are there explaining it by taking the scenario sentences and linking to the accounting standard and giving a conclusion. Right? So when I'm saying giving examples, doesn't mean that you give some other example and to your explanation. No. You have to explain with an example which is relevant to the scenario. Do you understand my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You have to pick up sentences from the scenario and give explanations of those sentences. You have to mention whether that sentence is correct or wrong. For example, they are mentioned over here. Gerard is required to, the customer is required to pay a deposit to Gerard. So when you can say, oh, the customer is required to pay a deposit to Gerard, it means that it is considered like an advance. And Gerard will be, if it fails to complete the construction, the deposit will be refundable. So something like that. So you have to pick up the sentences from the scenario and explain.
Yes, sir. Got it, sir.
Got it? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Similar to the first question itself, the second questions are also the same. You have exhibits, you have requirements. But in second questions or in question 3 or 4, one thing you can notice is that you don't have a spreadsheet. Spreadsheet response is given to you only in the first question of your exam, where you are required to do a pre-populated spreadsheet. That's it. Rest of the questions you have to do, the answers you are required to do or approach in the word processor itself. Okay. So as you can see over here, they have given us some explanation of accounting treatments and they are asking us to do some requirements. So see, this I would suggest that it is a little bit more tougher because there are so many concepts and they are asking small questions from those concepts. So you have to think of multiple chapters to write the explanations. And as you can see here, ethical question was coming only for how many marks? 5 to 7 marks. Usually it is 10 marks or sometimes 12 marks even. But last in this pre-mock June, they have only 7 marks for which they have approached.
So does it mean that the spreadsheet is not given? Does it mean that there is no practical part of the question, and it's all more explanations that we have to give?
It is more of explanations, but sometimes you might have to do some calculations. So in that calculations, you are required to do it like you are given a table option. So you can insert table.
Yeah.
And you cannot, what do you say? In spreadsheet, you can do, formulas. Here you can't do any formulas.
Yeah, we can't do that, right?
That's what it works. Yeah. Now comes section B. Again, 2 marks. Each of them are 25. Section A was 30 plus 20. Section B is 25, 25. So again, similar concept. You are given a scenario, given 2 exhibits. Based on the exhibits, you are required to show the calculations or approach the requirements. Again, exhibit, you are required to approach the requirements in your word process. Simple structure. The structure is not complicated. What is complicated? You can look at here the number of requirements. In this question, it's straightforward. 9 to 9. What is this 2 marks? I will explain. You have 9 marks, 8 marks, etc. That's it. But look at this requirement. So much of different requirements. A has 2 parts. B has 2 parts. This makes to look the question paper lengthy. This makes the question paper to be completed on a lengthier basis. It is not that easy to complete. It is difficult. It has its own difficulties if you think about it. All right. Now, your entire questions requirements are for 98 marks. Sorry, 96 marks. Total technical requirements, technical questions are for 96 marks. Your professional marks are 4 marks. What does professional marks mean? Professional marks is all about the way you write. Okay, it is about the explanations you give. Examples you give. The conclusions you draw. It's about the linkage of scenarios. Are you able to link the scenario? Are you able to pick up the scenario and explain? Right? Are you able to give reasonable decision-making capabilities? Are you arriving at a decision? That's how you score professional marks. Professional marks, you don't have any secret method to score. It's about how you prepare your answer, how you structure your answer, how well you present those answers. That's how the professional marks are approached. Okay. I would recommend you not to bother too much about this professional marks, because as you progress, when you improve yourself, automatically your professional marks, you will be able to conclude. Initial 2 weeks, finally coming to Surabhi's question, initial 2 weeks, how should I prepare myself for the exam? Initial 2 weeks, which is till you complete week 2. Okay, week 2, as you can see, or even in fact week 3, because we started off a little late this time. Till you complete, let's take a case of week 2, right? I'm considering this as end of week 1. Next week is week 2. So you are going to week 2. So Giridhar, you have to complete the 3 chapters as well. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Till the end of week 2, you should not touch any revision kit. What should be your focus? Every chapter has their activities. Can you see here activities?
Yes, sir.
Illustration and activities. That's what you have to do. That's it. Maybe in the first chapter or in the first week, the activities you're not able to do by yourself. Completely fine. Just read those activities. Read the answers of those activities. Try to attempt it. If you're not able to, don't pressure yourself. Just read the answers of the activities. Specifically,
trying is just to read, and in my mind I'm saying how and what logic is. I'm not writing it down, but I'm trying to at least gauge, or of course I'm not right every time, and then sometimes it's like complete surprises with the answers, and then I read the solution. Is that okay to do?
Correct. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what you have to do. So for example, let's look at this. Okay, you know what? Identifying the contract with the customer. This has something written on it. Okay, there are certain requirements. Now, I didn't understand this question. What should I do? Let me look at the solution. Read the solution, what they are talking about, right? So they're talking about IFRS 1 model, IFRS 2 model. They are talking about all this, etc. Now, is this something that I've understood? If not, let me wait, or let me ask this question to my tutor. So you can ask this question to me. Sir, in this activity, can you please explain what they have done, right? And this is what we'll be discussing in the live classes. Your doubts, correct? Or if you want to get the answer immediately, just WhatsApp to me with the activity. I will send you a voice note, or I will explain it in a different way, or I will write it in a different way and send it back to you in the group, right? But it is very important to complete the activities by yourself. The reason is because this is where majority students make a mistake. They try to rely on certain tutors to complete those activities for them. I have explained those activities in my videos. That's for sure. That's another part of the story. But these activities, when you read, sometimes what happens is that you are grasping the explanations of the examiner, which will help your way of writing better. Many of times students ignore these activities because couple of reasons. One is they want to finish fast, or second, they are lazy. It is very important to look at these activities because these activities are the ones is like a stepping stone. It will give you the primary focus on those topics. Is that clear?
So when watching the videos also, sometimes when you're explaining few examples, and
Yeah,
if we, because I already had doubts in, for example, revenue, there were
yeah.
few I had doubts. So how do we like, do we wait for the class and then
No,
um
no, not necessarily. What you do is if you have doubts which requires a simple explanation from my side, put it on the group.
okay,
Like for example, if you have a doubt on specific uh, calculation, let's say for example, in this question, you don't know how they calculated this 3 million or how they arrived at this 4 million, right? You put it in the group. If it is
okay,
like a question that requires like, sir, I've not understood this entire activity at all, right? Can you please redo this activity completely for me, right? It's a bigger question, right? So for me to do it in the WhatsApp, it's going to be difficult, right?
right. So my doubts are even smaller because, for example, when you were explaining the live class example, you have taken that few times in your video.
Yeah.
So, for example, one of my question was, if we are, should we not be able to recognize revenue proportionately every month as partial, performance obligation is met instead of recognizing the revenue after all the classes are met. So those type of questions are coming in my mind, and I wanted to ask
Yeah. Simple
those.
questions, you can put it on to my WhatsApp directly. No issues at all.
Okay, okay.
No issues.
So think, sir. Then I'll put these questions maybe that I already have because I think we are going to, close this session soon. So because at least the ones that I already have from revenue, I'll put it to you so
Yeah,
that at
yeah.
least
Just put it to
my
me.
concept is clear.
Yeah, yeah. Just put it to me. I'll explain through voice note or I'll put messages as I'll message, respond back to you.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just
Uh,
this week we'll do it that way. Next week onwards, if you want to take it up in my live class, don't be shy or don't keep it away. I'm happy to help you. This week's session, I'm closing it early. It's not because that I don't want to finish it off early. It's because that I want to ensure that I give enough time for you to study for the first 2 weeks. As I told you, I go very slow in the first 2 weeks. It's like I leave people alone in the first couple of weeks. That then after that I will catch hold of people. Because what happens is that in the first week it's completely like new people are joining every time, you know.
right.
So it becomes difficult for me to explain it again and again. So it's rather easier for if I start the question practice maybe in the first week of July. So in next week, what we will do is we'll have a dual part session. It will be a 2 day session. The fourth as well as fifth. Fourth and fifth we'll have a session and we'll do questions from multiple chapters.
Okay. So will you say beforehand which chapters so that at least if we have done those chapters, then it becomes, at least watch the videos, it becomes
Yes,
more relevant for us.
correct. So on Friday there will be, so there is a planner, a spreadsheet that will be shared with you today. The
Okay.
spreadsheet, we call it as progression sheet. That
Yeah.
progression sheet, we'll be uploading what are the chapters that you have completed. Like each one of you have to mention what are the chapters you have completed. And according to that, I'll be doing the questions.
Sure. Sure.
And
Uh,
and you are already given the guidance. Like for example, in week 2, we are going to do, you're required to complete these 3 chapters. So definitely questions will be from these 3 chapters.
So when you say these three chapters, a bit of guidance on the flow of work, because
Yeah,
like in the past exams, we would know that some subjects the teachers would say read BPP, or some will say don't read. This video is enough. So if that guidance is there, then it becomes easier because of course thing is very clear watching your videos. That is the first thing I do. But then
correct.
and now you have mentioned about the activities. But are we also supposed to read the chapter from the BPP kit?
See, when I complete this chapter, whatever you see, okay, if I've not made it clear. So whatever you see these chapters, the
Yeah.
chapter is complete when you do 3 things.
Okay.
One, you watch my videos.
Yeah.
Second, you go through or glance through the chapter subject, right, which is in your BPP textbook or your study hub, whichever you feel comfortable. Or if it is Kaplan textbook, whatever you feel comfortable, I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Anyone will do, right,
Anyone
sir?
will do, as long as you are doing some kind of reading. Because what happens is that when you watch my video, you would have understood. But when you read, there will be certain questions that comes to your mind,
Correct.
right? So in the first week, let's say there are 5 days, I'm giving you 3 days to finish 3 chapters, right? Or 4 days to finish 3 chapters. Just imagine, I'm just giving you 4 days to finish 3 chapters. Because as you can see, there are not more than 3 chapters in a week. Can you see here?
So these are not easy for you because also I must say I'm not a very young student and I'm not only a student, I'm also a working professional. So believe
Okay.
me, these are not easy tasks because the number of videos that are there for each of the chapter, it is quite a bit.
Yeah. I'll come to that part. I'll tell you how to, finish that. And I'll tell you the reason why these chapters are combined together. Now, these are like 4 days. You can finish 3 chapters, right? How you need to focus on the chapters, I'll come back to you. Now, the 5th day is only the reading day. Keep it as a reading day in the 5th day. In the reading day, all you have to do is sit and read these chapters notes. That's it. I have already given to you a small summary chapter note. If let me just share that with you. Yeah, I've already shared that.
I have this.
Yeah. These are actually notes which are summarized from all the materials, Study Hub,
Correct.
BPP, and Kaplan. This will help you to quick revision of the chapters.
Yeah.
Right? Quick revision of the chapters. Now, that's how a chapter goes. Now, let's say, imagine that. Let's say that you are given 3 chapters to complete. Let us say, for example, there is one chapter you have not completed, right? It's okay that you are taking it to the next week. It's not mandatory that you are not taking it. You have to complete it. It is not a problem. But where it becomes a problem is that the reason why I have given 3 chapters is because, number one, when you look at, there are like 6 days in a week, right? Before we come to the topic. So I am giving at least, let's say, for example, 2 days for one chapter, right? So you still have 6 days to complete 3 chapters. So that's why they are given 3 chapters in a week. Second, as working professionals, how I can approach? As working professionals, the most difficult part of your topic will be to plan your weekends, right? So during your weekends or after your work time, that's where you have to plan. And that's the reason why I've given the planner as well. Because what happens is that, let's say that you don't have a planner. What would happen? You would not know where to start and where to end. You would not know what chapter I have to finish and what chapter I have not to finish. You understand me?
Yes,
So I
no,
know
sir,
that,
that's very
yeah.
helpful. But so how many hours a day would you think is
See,
a
I'll tell
maximum?
you. The moment I tell you 2 hours a day, you will not be able to spend 2 hours. It's a theory of paradox, There is a theory that is called as a theory of paradox. What happens is that when you are targeting on an hourly basis, you will be, okay, you know what? Let me look at 2 hours. You would watch a couple of videos of revenue, or you would watch 3 videos of revenue, and you will be over exhausted. And by the time 2 hours is complete, you will feel that, oh, you know what? I'm done. But when it is objective, like chapter wise, it is chapter wise. Oh, you know what? I have to complete 3 chapters. So let me plan my routine myself. Because if I tell a common plan, right, what happens is that, Surabhi, for you, it might be working, but Giridhar, it might not work. You
No,
understand me?
that is true, sir. It's just no. I'm quite mindful of what you're saying, and I understand. As I said, I'm not very young, but it's just that I'm so worried when I looked at the course that will I be able to even attempt in September or not is what is worrying me.
No, no problem. So we'll take a revision, or we'll take a stock of where you are in the middle of the week. That's why we have a weekly progression sheet. You understand? The moment I see that you're not able to complete, I will definitely not recommend you to write the exam in this semester. I'll tell you to push it to December. Right? So we have a progression sheet. I'll share that progression sheet with you. I think I have it as well.
Sir, could you please share that notes which was having the all chapters?
Yeah. I'll share it with you. I'll share it. Don't worry.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So Giridhar, because I was also finding this a challenge. There's also there in the notes. I said in the WhatsApp group earlier to me because I was asking him a lot of questions there. So it's
No
all
issues.
uploaded in the online where we have the videos. If you go in there in the, I think in the archives or library, one of the places, all the notes are there.
Oh, okay. Let me just check and I'll see.
No
Thank you.
issues. I'll share it again in the group, or I'll share it personally to you, Giridhar. No issues.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. So as you can see, I've put your names over here, right? The targets for the week 1 was chapters 1, 2, and 3. Target, chapters 1, 2, and 3 regulatory framework. Then you have chapter revenue. Chapters 1, 2, and 3, revenue. Yeah. Chapters revenue, employee benefits, and non-current assets. Okay, these are the chapters. Now you have to write with your line on the line. For example, Surabhi, your line is number 5, right? What you have completed. Have you done any questions? If you have not done nothing, you can just say no. Do you have any doubts? Small doubts, you can mention it over here. You can say yes. Then we will discuss those doubts in the classes. You don't need to mention the doubts here. You don't need to mention what those doubts are over here. You just put those doubts, keep your doubts as well, and we'll discuss it during the class. Okay. But what is important is whether you have completed the chapter. If you have completed all, you can just mention as yes. If you have not completed, just mentioned as no, and which is pending. So you can say pending chapter 2, for example. So in this week, let's say that, for example, you have completed everything, yes, then mention it as yes. Yes. If it is pending, just mention no, pending is revenue, for example, right? So that I come to know which chapter is loose hanging for you, what is not completed, and accordingly, we will discuss your progress, right? This is very important for you to update. This helps you as well as a student to maintain your own progression and see where you are and what you are doing and what is happening with you, and then we'll discuss it on a weekly basis. Now, in my videos, if you Surabhi, are you from any exemption background?
So only the initial 5 papers. Then I gave the skill level 4. I
Okay.
have actually given the FM.
Okay. Understood. Got it. So if you are non-exempted, then there are certain videos which you don't have to look at. Like, for example, in revenue, this is FR. I'm sorry. In chapter 3, all which is written as FR, you are not required or mandatory to go through. The
But
reason why
honestly, sir, honestly speaking, this helped. I
yeah,
did watch because a year back I gave my FR exam, and of
okay,
course, it helps to remember the concepts. Yeah, this is what happened because this is the foundation of build the SBR. At least for me.
correct. Yeah, I understand. So if you are, it's not mandatory, I'm telling you. You can go through, but it's not mandatory. There is alternative also. The alternative is that you go through the FR study hub questions itself or FR notes, which will help you to prepare your, what do you call it, baseline. You understand? Right? Now, Giridhar, you're not working. You're a
Yes, sir.
full-time student.
Yes, sir.
You are an exempted student. For you, 100% mandatory that you have to go through FR.
Yes, sir. I'll watch it, sir.
Yeah, you watch it. All right.
Uh,
Now, the
so,
number
sir,
of items. For example, let's say in this, there are financial instruments, 16 items. Don't get overwhelmed because majority of them are not more than 1 hour, right? So to answer to your question on timely basis, how long should I give? Maximum 2 hours is what I recommend in a day if you are working. If you're not working, 6 hours. If you're working, 2 hours. You can structure it either morning 1 hour or evening 1 hour or evening 2 hours. That's up to you. But weekends, double it, 4 hours. Apart from my classes, attending my classes are also part of studies, right? But apart from attending my classes, give 4 hours.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Ramsia. I didn't see you joining. Welcome to the session. I think we have discussed quite a lot. Maybe you might, I don't know from when did you join? Is that, can you please let me know from when did you join? Okay, no issues. Yeah, Giridhar, you were saying something?
Sir, also I had a huge
Hello.
confusion to which textbook referred, like I should refer, like BPP or Kaplan. I have the access of Kaplan and BPP. I got it now, but then yeah, I was studying from Kaplan and it is a little confusing here and there. So
No issues.
should I?
See, there are so many materials out there now. So there are BPP, there is Kaplan, there is ACCA Study Hub, there is ChatGPT, of course, there is Claude AI, all these AI. Then there is my notes. Then there is my notes that I am referring to. It doesn't, only thing I say is that it doesn't matter. As long as when you're reading a topic, you're able to understand, it doesn't matter from which topic you are studying or which book you're studying. But for me, I recommend BPP to the students. From my recommendation perspective, I recommend BPP. The reason why I recommend BPP, primarily because BPP, the way the structured questions are very simple. Kaplan, the problem is that it's very lengthy. There are certain things which are not required, but they are still in part of the Kaplan textbook. But BPP is very summarized and concise and precise because they focus on the examination. They don't focus on the question or the conceptual part. They focus on the conceptual plus the examination. They don't want to give so much of explanation again and again. They want you to ensure that whether while reading it, have you understood? Yes. If not, good. But certain topics, I would recommend you to go through the ACCA Study Hub itself. To give a couple of topics are revenue and financial instrument. So you can watch or read two materials, but not three. The two materials I would recommend is BPP and Study Hub, but not Kaplan.
Okay, sir. I will just shift from Kaplan. I also felt it was really lengthy. It's taking me so long, and it
Yeah,
is
it is
really.
mentally straining. It is so lengthy that you will feel like losing it, right? I know I've read Kaplan and I don't recommend it.
Yes, sir.
But apparently many people are using Kaplan because it's all these pirated copies are available out there. So people are using it left, right, center. BPP is the source which will help you,
Okay,
right?
sir. I shifted.
Specifically the activities. Read the activities of BPP, you will get very good concept, very good idea.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
I do it.
Yeah. Ramzia, hi. Sorry, I think you were saying something.
Hello, sir.
Hi. No, I was just asking you from where did you join? When did you join? I think in the initial part you would have missed something.
Okay. Ma'am is send the link, the orientation class on today.
Okay, okay. Oh, you're a Malayalam student, right? You're an offline student of mine?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, don't worry. We'll have a separate session for you. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sir, I have leaving the session.
You can leave the class. Yeah. I will let you know when you have to come to the center.
I don't know, sir. Please
I will let
speak.
you know. Don't worry.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So one
All right.
last question, if I may ask.
Sure. Yeah,
Uh,
please.
do we need to, because when I'm seeing you writing in the videos and also the way they're explaining, just by reading, I don't think, maybe eventually it may happen, but I don't think,
It will
you
eventually happen.
know,
It will. Trust
because
me. Trust me on the
I wanted
process.
to ask, do I need to learn, the provisions and the points, or, how do I,
See,
because just
let
by
me tell
reading, I
you.
will not
Yeah.
remember.
Okay, let me tell you my fact as well. If you ask me to explain a concept right now on the fly, I will not be able to. The reason is because even me as a tutor, I need preparation time. I need to go through, I need to look at before every session or before every topic. I go through the questions, I read the questions, and then only I sit and explain. We are not artificial intelligent people. We are human intelligence. Human intelligence have a very good power or a very good very good gift that God has given us is to a gift of forgetting, right? There is a chance that we will forget things. Absolutely fine. Now, how do I remember those standard name and number? Irrelevant. Standard name and number, mentioning the standard name and mentioning the standard number will not help you to score marks. This is the reality. If you mention the standard name and number, you will not get marks. You will not gain marks. It doesn't matter. What matters is the standard explanation itself. Now, how do I keep those into my memory? There are three things. Number one is understanding the concept. Whether have I understood what the standard is about? If I'm talking about revenue 5-step, have I understood the revenue 5-step? Okay. Second, revision. Curious revisions, right? When I say curious revisions, what it means. Normal revision is not curious revisions. In curious revisions, you are very curious on revising or understanding the topic by explanations. When you read the revision topic, you are curious about, am I able to explain it? That's what is curious revision about. And finally, is reading the textbook and revising it on a consistent basis. To give you an example, let us say you have completed 3 chapters. The next week, what you have to do? You have to do the question practice of those 3 chapters which you have completed in the previous week, not in the current week. Because you're studying in the current week, you have to sit and do the questions of these questions or these chapters in the next week. So that what will happen? You will revise them automatically when you are practicing. So that is on consistent basis about. When you're revising the topics that you have studied in the current week, in current week itself, you are practicing the question. What will happen? You will forget it in the next week. But when you are practicing the questions of previous week's topics in the current week, what will happen? You will ultimately look at the questions and revise them. So that's the 3 areas that you need to focus on. Definitely understanding them. If you have not understood, ask doubts. Second, as I told you, curious revisions, because each time you revise, you ask yourself whether you have understood. If not, sit time to understand it. And third, consistent revision. That is revising it, the topics you have studied in the previous week in the current week. And the revising the topics that you have studied in the current week, in which week? The next week. So the chapter 1, 2, 3, which you have completed, we'll be revising them or we'll be practicing in them in the next week. Right? So that's how the weeks are created, or that's how the chapters are created. With that, you will automatically remember this topic. But okay, you know what? What if I'm not able to remember a concept? It's okay. As I told you, your attempt to score 100 doesn't mean that you will get 100. There could be mistakes that you might have or you will make. It's fine. Just keep on focusing on what do you say, making yourself a bit more stronger, not strong. That's it. Is there any questions? Every
Sir,
week you have to focus on improvement. Yeah.
Sir, like the fifth day,
Mhm.
can we revise the topics which we covered in the current week, and then in the weekend, when we solve questions with you, like have a little quick revision of the previous week's
Correct.
topic? And yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
That's why I'm
Uh,
asking you to do it on the fifth day or the sixth day. For example, let's say on Friday, if you revise the topics, Saturday you are fresh with those questions.
Okay.
You understand my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And as I told you, I'll be taking questions. When? As I told you, the previous week questions I'll be taking in the current week.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So automatically you will do the revision of that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That is actually really like balanced.
Correct. So as you attend my classes, what will happen is that automatically you are getting into the group. Every student, when they join, this is how they feel. So you are not anyone new to this. Every semester, I get these questions by all these students, and they are overwhelmed in the first week itself because SBR, as I told you, is a lengthy and a depth topic. So, but I can't do anything. That's how the question they are framed. But as you progress, you will come to know that, oh, you know what? This is not as difficult as I thought of, right? And by the time you've written your exam, you feel more comfortable, much more comfortable.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And your
And don't
videos
worry,
are really helpful, sir.
and don't worry, Surbi, 90% of my students are working professionals and they have managed to pass in the first attempt. Yeah. Giridhan?
I know, just I was just telling your videos were really helpful on few topics like crazy go like they're really good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Giridhan. Appreciate it.
Yes, I know.
All right,
I
guys.
second that.
Thank you. So more videos to come. There will be certain changes that I'll be making in this semester. I've thought of making some more changes to the certain ways of explanation, which I feel that will be much better. So as we go, we'll have different questions that we'll be practicing. I'm someone I don't like to practice questions which your answers are available to you immediately in your textbook. Because what's the point of practicing those questions? That's for you to do. I'll be picking up questions which are difficult if I feel. Like, for example, I'll be picking up a question which has been from past exams or pre-June mock. I might be taking a question from. I might be taking some questions from somewhere, right? Or I might be creating a question by myself, right? The reason I'm doing all this is because I want you to improve, right? The 1% change is what I'm trying to bring you. There could be, it could be going in your way or it might be going against your way, but it doesn't matter. Are we changing? That's what is important. If you feel that, you know what, oh, you know what, I'm not able to understand this, no problem. You sit and understand now. That's all. And as I told you, it's not about how much topics you cover. It's about how well you cover. Because if you have completed 10 or 15 chapters, but if you're very strong about those chapters, there is still a chance of passing the paper, right? So understand them, get in so much of, have a connection with them, like what the standard says, what does it mean by that, why are they doing it this way, why not in this way. Do some research on those. You will fall in love with the subject, you'll fall in love with the concept. The moment you fall in love, you will not forget it. And that's how I able to teach. All right, thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend. Hope you have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you.
We too have a very good weekend.
Yeah, I know that I told you it'll not be a lengthy session, but somehow it made me lengthy.
Sorry sir, for asking so
No,
much.
no. It's not because of you. It's my mistake. I like to talk a lot. Sorry.
This is
Thank you,
And
sir.
required.
please don't be sorry for asking doubts. We never. I don't encourage that asking. Saying sorry for asking doubts, because I want to have a lot of doubts, because the more doubts you have, the more good that you are actually reading and researching. So I encourage that. So I like you to ask a lot of doubts.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. Take charge. Bye.